I did that once. Welcome everyone to our Slimdown class. This is week 3 of our 12-week rotation, and we're just going to cover a couple of things. I want to recap on the things that we've already gone over for those who are seeing this and this is your first exposure to what we're doing. First of all, I want to tell you that Whole Soul Intuitive is a weight loss company specializing in when to eat habits and with a specific focus on transformation, starting with the beliefs that keep us in emotional eating and turning to food to try to feel better. We have several specialized pillars within our Real and Slim system designed to target specific emotional reasons that people are turning to food as a solution and to try to feel better. So if you are interested in having an appointment with one of our specialized coaches, please visit realandslim.com, and there's a form there that you can fill out and just tell us your specific goals. We'll get you in touch with the right coach. All right, so far in our Slimdown class, we have covered a few things. We've covered to watch for your hunger signals and eat only when you're hungry, and watch for when you're comfortably satisfied. I'm actually going to minimize this so that I can see all of my slides. See, I can't see you now, so if you raise your hand, I won't be able to see. But if you want to comment in the chat, I will see that. Welcome to those of you who are coming on. We're just going over some of the things that we've already covered. So watch for your hunger signals, eat only when you're hungry, watch for that comfortably satisfied feeling. I call that the sigh. It's not an actual sigh. It's kind of it's just when you notice that you're not hungry anymore. Your body feels satisfied. It doesn't need to have any more food put in it because the hunger sensation is gone. So, and then take 20 minutes to eat slowly, because that physical sigh, it takes about 20 minutes for your body to register that feeling. So give yourself time to eat slowly so you're not putting a bunch of food in and then having, instead of the sigh feeling come up for you, you'll have like this, oh, I'm way too full, I ate too many bites feeling come over you. And then we also discussed vermin beliefs, and I covered, I invite you to mute yourself if you're coming on and you haven't muted yourself yet. The vermin belief goes back to a story of when I was 15, I was a nanny, and we had a mouse problem. And this mouse problem just bred to hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, it was so crazy, mice in this storage room. And it all happened when we weren't paying attention. It just happened because we weren't conscious of what was going on in that room. So vermin beliefs, make sure that you're being really aware of what beliefs are getting in your way of making progress on your goal and what things are actually benefiting you and being good. There's nothing, we are like seriously powerful creators. If we think something is true, then it is true. So make sure you're not saying that's too hard for me. Create it being easy. Say it's easy for me. So those kind of things. So take a look at the kind of beliefs that you're believing. And then today I want to talk about what other people think of us, or what we think they think of us. For me, I come from a position of I am a recovering people pleaser. And because I come from that, this was a major, major, major reason for my own personal emotional eating issues. I can pretty much link back all of my emotional eating to being concerned about what somebody else thinks about me, or what I think they think about me. I invite you to mute yourself if you are not already muted. If you have something to say, go ahead and put it in the chat box. So this goes back to vermin beliefs. And, you know, these kind of things happen. I actually caught myself this week. I caught myself realizing that I had some things going on that were beliefs that were not serving me, that I thought were just facts about what somebody else thinks of me and how important what somebody else thinks of me was to me, especially this one specific person. And, you know, because I cared so much about what this person thought of me, I had all these other things wrapped around it. And I had to let that go. And so what we're talking about today is unleashing the things that are hurting us that are based on what we think somebody else thinks of us. So in the chat box, I'm on the next slide, I'm going to go over this. In the chat box, I invite you all to just type a yes or no if any of these things have come up for you. So this is what usually comes up. This is a basic, this is what usually comes up for people. What if they're right about me and I really am bad? So if somebody's made a judgment of you and they're whipping you with their words and they're telling you all the bad things about you, what if I really am bad? And what if you recognize that your behavior is not actually who you are and that you can shift it and it really has nothing to do with whether or not you're good or bad? What if they are wrong about me and I really am not good? So not thinking that people are sincere, or not believing that you were possibly a decent person and that you have good things going for you. What if they're talking badly about me behind my back? This was the one that kept me running in circles. This is the one that has hurt me the most. What if they're talking badly about me behind my back? I can't really do anything about that, so I need to release that kind of thing. What if I just can't forgive them? This is huge. These last two, I think, are the biggest ones for most people, holding on to things that are just hurting them and putting it on the outside. What if I just can't forgive them? If I forgive them, then they can hurt me again. Holding on to my feelings about this keeps it from happening again. That belief hurts people. And we are going to talk about what to do to let go of that belief today. Okay, so I have yes, definitely, from just about everyone. Oh, these are really, really big. These are really, really important reasons why people eat when they are not hungry. Okay, let's move forward. Forgiveness doesn't mean trust or getting hurt again. Forgiveness means healing for you. And that's what this is. This is really, really important, ladies. If we are holding on to this idea that we can't trust someone and that's the reason we're holding on to resentment, then the forgiveness isn't happening and we're not getting our healing done. So keep this in mind as we're talking about this. I'm just going to look at the chat box here really quick so I can see. Okay, so only with a few people for some people. So, but it is showing up. It's pretty common. We are not alone. We are not isolated. So one of my favorite mentors recently shared a post that covered his findings about how trust plays into his relationships. And I found that I had a major breakthrough just from reading this post. He talked about how trust isn't an all or nothing thing. So, and he broke it down, and I've been noticing this with my children. I don't say I can't trust you. I say I can trust you to try to get out of that, or whatever. I'm going to read my little notes here. I can trust that you will be a good listener, and also trust that you will not be on time for me. There are people who just don't respect other people's time that are still amazing people, and I can trust them with something. So I need to break that down so I'm not doing this all-encompassing, I don't trust this person. You can trust people to be what they are and who they are and have the behavior that they have and be growing from right where they are. I can trust that you will be a great cook and trust that you'll be terrible at doing my finances, right? I have a few more examples here. There are people who I can trust to be offended when I say no to them. I can just trust that that's how they're going to respond when I say no to them. And I've got people who, I don't have this in my notes, but I've got people who I can trust that if they say something to me and I ask a question to qualify it, that's going to set them off and they're going to think I'm arguing with them. If I know that I can trust that that's how they're going to do things and I trust them to be where they are with that, it releases me from having hard feelings about it because I just know that that's where they are. There are people I choose not to be around because I trust them to be toxic. It's the pattern that they're in and it's where they're growing from right now. There are people that you can always trust to gossip and backbite. If you know that that's their pattern, then you can trust that they're doing it, and you don't have to hold on to it. They're going to do that anyway, whether or not you give them any ammunition, because it's their pattern. And if they choose to make you their target, okay, that's just their pattern. It's where they're growing from right now. So how do I get to be so okay with how other people are feeling? And that's what we're going into today, because this was a tough one. As a people pleaser and trying to get everybody to like me, I found myself scrambling and always worrying, and those cords were attaching to me. So let me go into this. I'm trying to skip steps here. You can trust one person to be amazing at one thing, while at the same time trusting that the same person will also be horrible at another thing. Forgiveness is not trust. Forgiveness is release. And if we're talking in terms of having a cord be on you, attached from another person to you, then you can say, I'm going to release this and forgive them, but still trust they're probably going to do the same thing again. That's just where they are right now. You just don't have to feel bad about it. So I'm going to walk you through this process, and I invite you to close your eyes and get grounded. I'm going to walk you through getting grounded. And I'm just going to, I'm going to invite you to put your feet flat on the floor or straight out in front of you if you are sitting on a bed or something. And put your hands in your lap with your palms up. And this, for me, symbolizes openness and being willing to receive. And I invite you to see through the top of your head a conduit of purple light shooting out from your head straight out into outer space and connecting with your source. And through this conduit of light, just make sure it's nice and clear. Nothing is a barrier. And through this conduit will come all the information that you need, all the inspiration that you need to be able to just pop the cords off and hand them over. They don't have to be attached to you anymore. Just breathe that in. We're going to go on a little journey in a visualization, and I invite you to come with me up off of the planet, out into outer space, away from all the stuff. And over to the right, I invite you to visualize a building floating in outer space. It's completely stable, it looks safe. And it's beautiful, and you're just drawn to it. And you go over to this building, and you stand on it, and the gravity is perfect. Everything's perfect. You walk in the door, and you know that it is beautiful, and it feels so safe and peaceful in here. And you look around, and you see that it's set up like a courtroom. And at the front of the room, there's a judge's stand. You feel really safe here, even though it's a courtroom. You walk up to the front of the room, and you feel instinctively that if you sit down on the side of the defendant, then you're going to get the help that you need. And over to the side of the room, to the other side of the room, and in the plaintiff's side, there are the people that you're worried about what they think of you. The people who have said something or done something that's hurting. And you see that from them, attached to their front, is a cord that's coming across the space between you and attaching into your back and going into your internal organs. And it hurts. It's hurting you. And note that spot on your body where it hurts. Is it your stomach? Is it your heart? Is it your kidneys? Where does it hurt? And then in walks this perfect judge, and you feel instinctively he is your advocate. He's going to help you. If you just choose who that is, recognize who that is, and say, oh, I do trust you. Yay, I'm so glad it's you. Now he looks at you and he says, or he or she looks at you and they say, I know why you're here, and you need to plead guilty. And you say, what? You want me to plead guilty? They're the ones. They did this to me. And your perfect judge says, but you believed it. You believed the stuff. And so you're guilty of believing that, the lies and holding the resentment and letting it hurt you. And in this moment you say, oh, you're right. And you just submit. And you say, I'm guilty of believing that stuff and letting it hurt me. And now just look up into this judge's eyes and ask this judge for help. What do I do? And he invites you. I'm going to say he, but your trusted advocate might be a she, but we're just going to go with it. He invites you to reach back, put your hand around the cord and pop it off and hand it to him so that he can take care of it. And because you trust this individual, you say, okay, you know this cord is attached to your internal organs, and this idea of taking it off seems really hard. But you're willing to do hard things. So grab it, pop it off, and pass it over. And when you do that, this judge just grabs the cord and yanks it off of the other person, throws it up in the air, and it turns to glitter. It's nothing. It's completely impotent. But you have a spot on your back, a scar, kind of an open wound. And you ask your friend, the judge, to help you out with that. And in your mind's eye, envision something happening. It could be anything that works for you, that this friend, this judge, helps you heal that wound. They could bring out a washcloth and wash it off. They could put some healing salve on it. You could just touch it and make it disappear. But either way, this wound is healed and the spot is gone. And you're free. Now this judge puts their hands on your shoulders and says, you're free right now. And it's time to stand in your power, and all of a sudden you see there's a whole bubble of light all around you. And you know that this is your light and your strength, your power. And the judge puts his arm around you and looks over at those plaintiffs. They are mad. They are mad. And he says, they're going to try again, see? So let's practice. And they start tossing their cords over, saying the same thing, doing the same things they were doing before, or that you thought they were doing. And the cords come barreling at you, and what happens to them? And at this point, I invite you to visualize that they just bounce off and hit the floor. They can't even touch you. Well, now they're really mad. And they pull out their high-powered crossbows, and they attach the cord, and they start shooting again. And because you're standing in your power and you're not doubting, you know you're growing from right here. They shoot those arrows, and those arrows bounce right off and ricochet across the room, but they don't touch you. Go ahead and turn and thank your friend, the judge, for helping you to see this and to be in this moment and to see your light as the strength that it is and your choice. And come on back to earth. And I invite you to see yourself in a situation that most recently troubled your heart and attached a cord onto you. And this time, when you replay that situation in your mind, I invite you to let it bounce off of your bubble. And don't let that hurt your heart. And recognize that the truth is whatever you believe it is for you. The truth about you, knowing who you are and where you're growing from and what you want to be, and seeing your value for your value. You get to decide. And they don't get to hurt you anymore. And the problem can be with them. And they can be as upset as they want. And that is okay. And I invite you to breathe that peace in. Just take a couple of deep breaths. And if you felt this was helpful to you, make sure you write this in your journal when we're done. And I invite you to open your eyes. And if you have anything that you want to share, this is a great time to share. So if you want to, remember that this is this is going on the YouTube channel. People are going to see this, but if you want to share, go ahead and unmute yourself, and you can give me a little, or give us a little bit of how you feel now, and if you felt that was helpful to you and going forward. Teresa, did you want to say something?
Yeah, that was really neat. I feel so empowered, like, nothing can touch me now, that I can just walk out there and just be myself, and I don't have to worry about what anybody thinks. That's awesome. Thank you.
Yay, I'm so glad. Thank you for sharing. Does anyone else want to share? All right, that is okay. You can also share in the text if you want to. Mary, did you want to share?
So when we were cutting the cord off, or not cutting the cord, but ripping it off, I actually felt, I've always had this, not always, but a lot of the time, just a pain in my lower left back. Mm-hmm. And I actually, when I ripped it off and gave it back, I felt like I could feel it. And then when we were washing it, and I chose to have washcloth and a salve on it because it's been going on for quite a long time. I actually felt a tingle all the way up my back, like it was just a tingling feeling. And it was amazing feeling to just know that, yeah. So that's what I wanted to share.
Thank you. I love you. I'm so glad.
I love you too.
I think we have time for one more share. Does anybody else want to share anything? Okay. Well, pipe up before I get off if you really have something you feel like would benefit someone else to share. And tomorrow, or not tomorrow, but next week, we'll be here, same time, same link. So feel free to invite a friend who needs support. We would love to support them. We are going to do a recap. And I would love for those of you who are regulars to this Slimdown class, if you want to come and be prepared to share an experience that something that we've shared here, whether it be through emotional release or the eating, the relationship with your body, how you are shifting because of your new relationship with food. I would love to have somebody share. So if you want to do that, if you will just message me on Facebook. If we're not Facebook friends, Facebook friend me. And I would love to hear your experience. Oh, you know what? I just got reminded that next week I have a previous engagement. So we are actually not going to have Slimdown class next week, but we will resume here the week following. So if you want to do that the week following, please message me. And I will be announcing that on the on my Facebook page and in various places. So watch for that. I love you all so much. I am so glad that you're seeing results and feeling a change and a shift, and that you're feeling better and happier. I love you. I will talk to you next time. Bye-bye.